Hello and welcome to the Life and Memoir Circle, a podcast for readers, writers and tellers of true life stories who loves a good memoir. I'm your host, Vig Gleason, and you are exactly the person I want to have a conversation with today. So use the link in the show notes and get in touch. I can't wait to hear your story. Hello and welcome to the first episode of the new year. Happy New Year. I'm allowed to say that, right? It's still January. Well, it's the last day of January anyway. Have you noticed how this year has a very slow, kind of comfortable start? Everyone I meet says the same thing, that this year hasn't really got going yet. Now that's fine with me. I gave myself till the end of the month to finish the review of 2023 before I fully embrace my plans for 2024. But my intention is already set for this to be an awesome year with a lot to offer. How about you? Are you slowly easing yourself into the new year, or have you all your plans made? Your holidays already booked and last year's photos printed and put into nice photo albums. Oh God, the photo albums. They are perpetual open circle projects for me, year after year. And I'm a photographer, and still tens and thousands of photographs from the last 14 years languish on my hard drives, waiting to get organized and printed. And here's the thing about open circles. Because I'm not taking actions and create these albums I would love to have on my shelves or give away as presents, my inner critic keeps nagging me. I can't believe you still haven't done it. Now, the projects have grown so big, I'm completely overwhelmed and don't know where to start. Should I start from the beginning, as in 2011? Or should I do 2023 first? Maybe I should just focus on my holidays. It's too late now, the inner critic taunts. It'll take too long. There's no point even starting. You'll never get it done. I'm exasperated with this inner voice and refuse to listen to it anymore. I've done quite a lot of practice on quieting my inner critic. As a writer, I have to, or my memoir would never be published, nor would this podcast ever get out to you. But when it comes to my private photo albums, I tend to do the same thing every single year. Instead of committing to do just one small thing, I decide to shut up and silence the nagging voice in my head by closing the open circle and saying, no, N-O, I ain't doing it. I'm too busy. I need more time. I'll put it off for another year. A future me. Do you have open projects you've wanted to complete for years? What do you do when you don't make any progress on them? Do you use an open-close circle thing? I read about this concept in the 12-week year book by Brian Morgan and Michael Lennington, is it? This isn't a book recommendation, by the way, because I haven't actually read the whole book, just snippets of it. You know, if it's not an audio book, I'm not going to get to the whole thing. Anyway, basically what you do is you look at the stuff you wanted to but didn't get around to do, and then you ask, do I still want to do it? And if you do, then you ask, by when? And I love this one. Can you get somebody else to do it? i.e., defer or delegate? Or as in my year-long battle with photo albums, just close the bloody circle and the inner critic shuts up. I like the 12-week year because it fits my preference to plan just a quarter in advance. I have a good idea of what I want for the whole year, but I only do detailed plans for 3 months at a time. It helps while running a marathon, like spending 7.5 years writing a memoir. At least that's a project I can proudly say I completed last year. Hooray! Do you review the year that was? I'm still reviewing, because it helps me to plan for the year ahead. And I like taking it slow, like turtle speed. Oh, turtles. That reminds me of my mountain walks in Athens. I miss those walks. Walking reminds me of making life simple and only taking one step at a time. So while I review the year that was, I ask myself only a few questions. And with this podcast, I made a beautiful, if I should say so myself, workbook. So if you'd like to follow along with the podcast and do your own review and renew scribbles, just click the link in the show notes and download it. Or if you're on my email circular, you'll find a link to it in the email I sent you today on the 31st of January. Oh, and you're welcome. I've included a few questions in the workbook PDF, which I'll go through here. Plus, I'm giving you my easy tips and tricks on how to trigger your memory that I used while writing Speak Truth Lies. It's simple things like browsing through your text messages, day planners or journals. If you have them, do you have them? Let me know if you have them. Obviously, there's your social media posts and photos on your phone. Ah, there I go again with the photos. Guilty as charged. I like a good workbook myself, but I don't like those full of lined paper after every single question. You know, I'm just thinking if people are printing this, how many trees would that be? So when I designed mine, I imagine you snuggled up on your couch, in bed, or at your favourite cafe, writing down your own musings in a beautiful journal with a most delicious pen. Which reminds me, I finally got refills from my special rollerball pen last Friday, which completely delighted me, because I'm a total stationery addict. It's the best addiction I have. I have a few others, but I'm not going to talk about them. If you read my memoir, you probably know what they are. No spoilers, please, though. So, what was 2023 like for you? For me, it was quite a bit of an overwhelming year, to say the least. It started with spectacular fireworks over Athens. Ruby and Shane and I went up the mountain and got a prime seat at the green awning. The restaurant was closed, but we'd brought our own bubbles and glasses. We knew it was our last time watching the explosions of colours light up the sky over the ancient Acropolis and the city that's taken root in my heart. That night in Athens made me so happy. So did the New Year's Eve just gone, though. More on that later. What made you happy in 2023? For me, to see my book out in the world, of course. Though the world is a big place and my book only landed in 100 hands. I hope one of those hands were yours. If not, you know what to do. Show notes, click the link, buy the book. If you're listening to this podcast, you definitely want to read my memoir. It's a great read. At least that's what people are telling me. On Amazon, it's sold about 50-50 Kindle and paperbacks. I'm really happy about that. You know me, I prefer Kindle. But a lot of people obviously go to Amani's to get it, or if you're in Ireland or Norway and you can't buy it on Amazon, you can order it directly from me. I love direct sales because then I get to sign it and give you a personal dedication, as well as wrapping it nicely and going to the post office and sending it off. The thing with the post, though, is that outside Ireland, outside the UK, it is quite expensive. So if you live in a country where Amazon deliver to you, like the US, Canada, Germany, and most other European countries, then buy it from Amazon. And, save the trees and get it on Kindle. When you do, that is actually how I make more money, believe it or not. But of course, if you want a signed copy from me, I'm more than happy to do that for you. But you pay the postage. You know, the first time I wrote a dedication in my book, I was terrified. I don't know why. I still get this kind of, ooh. Like I still can't believe that I have a book out in the world and people want to buy it. Anyway, I'm digressing. Where was I? Oh yes, what made me happy in 2023? Well, you all know we moved back to Ireland, and it is actually 8 years this month since we left. That's a long time to be away. Our return was by far the hardest move of them all, and we've done 8 moves, counting the temporary homes we had every time we arrived in a new country, plus a local move due to flooding in Cairo. Imagine that, flooding in Cairo. The desert doesn't make much sense, does it? The world's a bit topsy-turvy at the moment. But let's not go there. I am so happy to be home, to be back in our own house after years of apartment living in capital city. I relish the space of home and the familiar of village living. It was super hot when we got here, which I didn't like, but it was fine. The house was such a mess, so we spent most of our time outside, trimming back a bit of the garden. Lately, it's been utterly freezing. I love that. It's my first winter season in 8 years. Right now, it is pouring down with rain, which is perfect weather for cozy indoors. You know, when I'm with my mum and the weather is good, she hassles me to go outside. You can't be indoors when the sun shines, she always says. It drives me insane. I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. So now, when the sun shines, I feel guilty if I don't go outside. It's like my mother's voice have lodged inside my head like a persistent inner critic telling me what to do. But I'm also a teenage rebel, so sometimes I refuse to listen to reason. Do you listen to your inner critic? I see. We all do. Right. Okay, let's move on then. Next question. Who was in your inner circle? I love this one. I left a very good friend behind in Athens. We didn't say goodbye though. Just let our relationship change and move online, like many of my other friendships have done, as we've moved from country to country. My friend in Athens is Irish, so I'll see her again soon. Not like many of my friends from Cairo who I haven't seen in a very long time, and I miss them just as much as I missed my Irish friends during the years when I was away. I'm glad to have them back in my inner circle now, I can tell you. Who inspired you in 2023? Oh, so many. Writers, podcasters, news and storytellers. I can't even remember them all. But oh my God, I got to see Andrea Bocelli in concert. Oh, that was totally thrilling. Imagine hearing Time to Say Goodbye in concert. It is my most beautiful piece of music ever. If you read my blog, you probably know how much this song means to both Shane and me. Okay, this question. What were you grateful for? I came back to a season. I'm safe. I love my home and my beautiful man and courageous daughter. She settled into her new school and found a great group of friends. I'm so grateful for that. We have enough money, so when the cold weather came, I could buy a new winter wardrobe. I haven't had one in years. We got a new car. Oh, I love that car. Though our 17-year-old Aston's Polo was fun to trash around in, it didn't have much luxury. So I'm very happy to feel a bit of luxury when I'm in the driving seat now. And of course, with our return to Limerick, I got all my beautiful friends and fabulous, crazy neighbours back. Now they're in my inner circle, and I'm so grateful for them and all the laughs we have. It was them we spent New Year's Eve with, and we didn't see a single fireworks over Castleconnell. If there were any, we wouldn't have heard it for all the laughter in our neighbour's kitchen. So different to our New Year in Athens, but both nights equally delicious. I'm back walking with my feels like soulmates friends again. I love our deep and meaningful conversations as we meander the banks of the Shannon or linger over a copper in the local cafe. It's like I haven't been away at all. I've just slotted right back in. I am super grateful for my circles of wonderful women writers, my editor, oh my God, I love Carol, my life mentor, Moira, and her community, Wealthy Minds and Positive Pulse. I feel completely supported in these circles. I'd love to invite you into these circles. So let me put a link to a little gift for you in the workbook. Have a look there if you want to join me for any of these things. Oh my goodness, can you hear the storm outside my window right now? Very well queued up for the next question, that wind is. What saddened you in 2023? I didn't get to see my mum and my brother. When I wrote this sentence a week ago, my heart cracked open. I didn't realise how much I missed them. I need to be with them. I usually travel home, in inverted commas, to Ålesund during the summers, but 2023 was just crazy with the book launch and the move. The heartache felt like grief, a longing that kept growing. Then, on Friday night, around the kitchen table for our regular Friday pizza, we were talking about Ruby's work placement and how that week leads directly into midterm. A week off, I thought. Maybe I should go to Ålesund then, I said. You should, they said. As this podcast airs, my tickets are booked and I'll be home with my mum in February. We'll be celebrating Christian's 50th birthday. Yes, I know all of you who've read Speak Truth Lies have a soft spot for my brother, and so do I. And I have not celebrated his birthday with him in person in 30 years, so it is about bloody time. It's good to listen to heartache, to listen to the body. It often knows more about what we want and long for than the mind. That's why we call it bone tired and not brain tired, I think. There are a few more questions in the workbook to transition us from reviewing to renewing. It's good to read and ponder of them in order because the last questions are indicators of what you want more of in the months ahead. I could answer them all for myself here, but I've been on air for a while and you might be weary of listening, so I'm going to skip to the last question. What did you miss last year? Or, like, since forever? I have missed singing in a choir. To be a small voice in a big choir and practice with a group and be directed by somebody crazy passionate about music. I absolutely love singing, and I was determined not to let another year go by before I joined the choir. And the beauty of this question, what did you miss, is that you can act on it straight away, which is what I did. It's a few weeks ago since I did this question now, and I was thinking, okay, here we go. You really missed this. What can you do about it right now? So I put down my pen and I went over to Facebook and sent a message to Carrie Hurley, who is the fabulous director of the Rolling Tones Rock Choir. And I said, do you have a little space for a little voice? And she went, we are totally full, but for you, yes, come along. So tonight, is my third night practicing with my choir, and it is so much fun. I can't believe it. I was chatting to my old choir director, the beautiful Sigrun Aas, who directed the Ålesund Church Choir 40 years ago. And she was saying, oh, you're going to have amazing time. Enjoy it. And I am really enjoying it. So jump on anything you can. Do something immediately when you answer the question, what did you miss? See if you can bridge that gap, close it, and do something that you really, really enjoy. And that transitions us perfectly over to what do you want the next quarter or the rest of the year to bring you? Obviously, I get to sing in a choir, and in my career life, I want more connection with people who want to share their stories. And I'm thinking about, not sure if it's a program, if I could call it that, but the idea is therapy on the page. Does that sound scary to you? I want this to be mostly free, so I think I'm going to use this podcast to talk about how we can excavate, stuff in our past that doesn't serve us anymore, and use that to propel us forward and look into the future and see what we really want. So a little bit like this Review and Renew podcast, but with a community element where we can get together, meet online, talk about our stories. You don't necessarily need to want to write a memoir or personal essays, but I would like to use the elements of storytelling that I learned while writing Speak Truth Lies. Things like the arc, when you are at one point in your life and you're looking in the rear view mirror, like we've done here today, in the review part, because this was really interesting when I was writing, because I hadn't got myself to the end of the journey. Although I knew the scene that the book would end in, I wasn't the woman who was standing on that ferry deck. Like, my internal landscape wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. And in order to finish the book, I had to become that person. So I want to talk about things like that. It might sound completely crazy, but if you want to join me, I would love to have you. So please get in touch. You know how. Just reply to my email circular that I have sent you. And if you haven't got any of those, then use the link in the show notes to sign up. I think I will probably have the first online get-together maybe next week. There is a little bit more about it in the workbook. And I think that's all I have to share today. It's been wonderful to be back. I would love to hear from you as always. So sending you my big love, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. I would love to hear your thoughts about this episode and how it relates to your story. Use the link in the show notes to contact me or find me on Facebook or Instagram at Vig Gleeson. That's VIGGLEESON. You can also find me by doing a quick Google search because there is only one Vig Gleeson in the world. So I'm very easy to find. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a 5-star rating and share it with your friends. It's so important to me that stories like ours gets heard, for it helps others to heal too. There are many more episodes to come, so please hit subscribe so you won't miss a single one. With love from me to you, I'm Vig Gleeson, and you have been listening to the Life and Memoir Circle podcast. Until next time, write on.